Okay. Well, this has not been easy. I'm trying. If you're there watching, yes, I am. I've never used this go live before, so I have no clue whether this is working. But I wanted to say hi. If you're watching, please say hello so I know I'm actually on. This is my first try doing live streaming on YouTube. It has been quite some time. So if you're watching, welcome to Racism Unfiltered Live. It's kind of a joke today. My partner, Michelle, is not here, but each Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern, we go live. And this is an informal space for you to check in and read comments, say hello. Harper, yay! Hi, thanks for being here. That was a rough start, but I got on here. I'm here to talk about whatever you want to talk about, answer questions, have real, honest conversation. We do short rants. We interact with viewers. We, meaning me, myself, and I, since my partner's not here today. And we talk about whatever's on your mind, as long as it connects to anti-racism, bigotry, inequality, corruption, and protecting our democratic republic. One thing we don't do is we do not debate anyone's civil or human rights because they are not ours to debate. Yay, thank you, it's working, yay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So each week is driven by you and your questions, your concerns, your thoughts. So let's get to it. And if nobody has any questions, concerns, or thoughts, I have tons to say. So let me see here. Boop. I'm just checking it out. Thank you, Harper. Yay. I'm very happy to have you here. I have a couple of announcements to make, and I'll go from there. Let me just check it out. For anyone here who is new, this channel used to be an actual functioning channel. It was my old YouTube Angry Soccer Mom channel, which Michelle and I, who is not here, have been trying to reopen. I was demonetized by YouTube because they didn't like my content. And my content was anti-racism, bigotry, inequality, and corruption in America. And they didn't like it, so they swiftly demonetized me about three years ago, maybe. And when I met Michelle, I decided maybe we'll try to start it back again. So the channel is just meant to see what happens is you don't make a lot of money getting monetized, but what it does do is it gets you into the algorithms for YouTube. And once you're in the algorithms for YouTube, it's amazing because they advertise for you and that helps tremendously. So when I got booted out of the algorithms and monetization, all my videos went from being seen by thousands of people to being seen by maybe 2 people if I was lucky. So that's why being monetized is so important. So now we're trying to bring it back. So if you are watching, please consider subscribing and watching videos and sharing them with your friends, because that is how you get remonetized and back in the algorithms. We've done a handful of shows already, and thank you, Harper. And we are trying to build up this channel. What this is about is honest conversation, and I'd love it if you'd help me rebuild this space. If there's anything you want to talk about, particularly with that subject matter in mind, that would be great. If I don't know about it, we'll let you tell me all about it in the comments, and we'll go from there. We've done, as I said, a handful of shows already, and we want this to be honest conversation, and we'll do that by talking to you once we start building up our audience again. This show is geared especially for people who are not just now learning and thinking about what's going on in our culture and kind of wondering what the heck's going on with equity, justice, liberty, and all that stuff that we're supposed to be having, but it's not going so well here. So the show is for for people who might feel anxious or reluctant or maybe overwhelmed by all this, maybe you live in an area where you're surrounded by red, people who appear and come across as hateful and mean to you, and you have nobody to talk to. Well, come talk to us every Sunday at 4 Eastern. It's for people who may not follow politics, but want to know what the hell's going on, because they're on the planet and they can tell something's pretty strange. If you ask a question, and if you ask any question, I am not going to belittle you in any way. I want to know what you want to know, and anything goes. We center our conversation around new learners, and until we find out otherwise, if someone's just trying to be a smartass, they can ask questions. And if we find out they're just here to be a jerk, then we just say goodbye. But it's a pretty safe space to be in, for new folks. So anyone who has anything to say, go ahead and say it. We're just starting out, so sometimes we have a smaller audience. There is a protest coming up on March 28th, and I'm going to be mentioning it every time probably, because of the fact that it is so important that new people get their voice heard and be seen. These are peaceful protests. They are not meant to be chaotic. They're not radical. It's not dangerous. It's part of being a good citizen. Because if you're a good citizen, then you do your civic duty and you stand up for what's right. And one of the most important forms of participation that exists is to go out and protest. Power rarely changes direction on its own. Power enjoys being power and it wants to stay. But power changes when people refuse to normalize injustice. And right now, that's what we're going through. Injustice is being completely normalized. And I'm here to say it is not normal. What's going on now is not normal. Okay. Power changes because everyday real people decide that they're not going to just stand and do nothing. They're not going to watch while democracy's ending, and allow the wealthiest people to become more rich while everyone else struggles. So if you're watching, please make sure you're subscribed, ring the bell. Michelle is on vacation today. Michelle and I usually just come on at 4 Eastern and talk to everybody. And during the week, usually on Fridays, we do our own videoing, and we make up videos in a series where we call Racism Unfiltered, White Women Talk. And it's literally us talking, and we're very upfront, and we say what we say, and we are not being PC. This is how we really feel. I think people get very confused about what PC really means. Politically correct. No, we're actually being ourselves and speaking with empathy and compassion from the heart. There's nothing PC about that. So we're definitely not PC, although I've been called PC many times. I think it's supposed to be an insult. But before we get started today, I wanted to share something very special with you. After years of conversation, research, talking to people, Harper, I want to engage, but I'm cleaning my garage. It needs to be done, but I always learn things from you. Oh, thank you, Harper. I'm just happy you're there and listening. You're such a sweetheart, and you are so supportive, and that's wonderful. No worries. I'm happy to have you. Basically, what's happened is, after years of conversation and research and interviewing people and listening to Black people, listening to brown people, having them get, they allow me to interview them, people from all different walks of life, and me working with white folks who are very reluctant, resistant, anxious but they kind of want to, find a way to learn about what's going on. They don't understand systemic racism. They think racism is just them calling someone the N-word, and they don't do that. And so that's not how they were raised. And so they think, well, I'm not racist, so what's the deal? And they don't understand that there's a very, very large and important part of history that has been kept from us. And it's been kept from us purposefully. And the problem is we think we know everything, but we don't. We don't know how much we don't know. So I finally wrote my book, and it got published last week. It's called Indoctri-Nation 365, Taking Racial Responsibility in Post-Truth America. And it is a book that was not written for experts. It was written for people who want to know everything about systemic racism and American history that they weren't taught. And I wrote it for people who are curious, for people who feel like they think they know what's going on, but they can tell something's not quite adding up. It's for people who were taught one version of history on purpose, but are starting to realize that there might be a little more to it than that. The book walks people through, it'll walk you through hidden history, cultural myths, and systems that shape our society. It does so in a way that helps people think through things step by step rather than feeling attacked or overwhelmed. It's not about shame and blame. We all inherited this system. Nobody here invented it. But now that we're here, we need to open our eyes. Propaganda, let's just say Kim Jong-un doesn't have much on us with the propaganda. We are doing a pretty good job of it ourselves. And with this, with Trump and his post-truth era that he helped to bring in, during his first term, it's getting worse and worse. No one knows what to believe. No one knows what to think. If you are watching, please say hello. And hello. No, you are not blocked. Oh, Michael, thank you so much for being here. I got a copy. The book is great. Thank you for all your hard work. Oh, thank you so much. That's such a nice compliment. Michael is a very good friend of mine, and he is absolutely brilliant. And he bought a copy of my book, and I was so incredibly honored that he did. And he's helping me to spread the word. And thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yay. So if you are watching right now and have a topic you want to talk about, please feel free to do so. And if I do not know anything about it, you're going to have to tell me. But if I do, I'll have an opinion. A lot of people think this is just my opinion. And yes, of course I have opinions. I'm a human being. Most of us do. But what I like to do, instead of just getting my information from just anybody, I like to get my information from the most academic and upcoming person in the field. And that is somebody who has studied the field for years and years, maybe lived it, studied it. They are at the cutting edge of their subject matter. And instead, I think a lot of people accidentally take all people's opinions and then just give them the same weight. And that's not a great way to go, because especially we're in a post-truth era. Who do you believe? So get people's opinion, get your opinions from people who are experts in the field. Get people, there are so many people who have studied so hard to learn all this, and we are so specialized. Nobody can know everything about everything. But with regards to inequality and justice, the details matter. So you need someone who has studied this and has been peer reviewed and whose work speaks for itself. A lot of folks, I hate to say it, they'll meet, their friend's uncle's brother's cousin, who is a jeweler on Etsy. No offense to jewelry people on Etsy. And they take their opinion for the word of God. But you see, we need experts. So please stick with the experts during this very, very difficult and crucial time where people don't really know what's real and what's not. So let me see if there's anybody who wants to say anything. This is a tough place we're in right now. For my book, my goal was simply to create something that would help people understand how we got here and how everyday people can take racial responsibility in their own life. Yes, it's a huge system. It's a powerful system. And you might feel helpless, but it takes one person to make a difference. And it's kind of contagious. I mean, I think right now, a lot of people are afraid, and that's understandable because we're having our rights taken away, and we're being shut down, and we're being told you don't protest, you don't speak out, and we're having the rights that we thought were always going to be there. They're being taken away, and not enough folks are standing up and saying, not on my watch. I'm not going to have this happen on my watch. People are afraid, and I get it, but that's how authoritarianism and all this, the twilight of our democracy is allowed to happen, by people being afraid. It's purposeful. So you have to be brave and get out there and do something. Not everyone has to do everything, but everyone needs to do something. I wanted to just point something else before I go on, and I'll be checking for comments and questions and things of that nature. If you're out there watching, please say hello. Don't be shy. Part of the thing is, there's a reason right now that a lot of people are afraid to post and afraid to, speak out. And that's because we're in a post-truth era with somebody who's trying to take over and is actually doing a pretty great job. He's kind of taken over, and it's happening, and we're kind of letting it happen. And one of the things I wanted to point out, a lot of folks think, oh, it's the far right people who are doing this. Well, actually, yes and no, because you see, people who are on the far left, maybe they're activists and they're trying to get the word out that, liberty and justice for all, and, let's form a more perfect union that's kind of for everybody. They're sticking to our Constitution. And there's people on the right who are very, very, off the charts with white supremacy, Christian nationalism, a lot of hate and anger, a lot of lies, using religion to stand behind. But it's not those people that I work with. It's the people smack in the middle. It's all the white folks and some black and brown folks who are doing absolutely nothing. They think that being nice to everybody is going to dismantle a powerful system of racism and bigotry and inequality and this system of extreme power of billionaires. And it's those people in the middle. That's the largest group. Many of them don't vote. Many of them don't speak out. Many of them haven't found their voice. Many of them are upset, but they keep it in their head and they don't really speak out because maybe they don't know the words, or maybe they think they'll get fired, or I'm not really 100% sure why they don't speak out, but I'm pretty sure it's fear. And it's that large group in the middle that is the reason we're where we are today. And I'm not trying to blame, and point fingers, but if we're going to point fingers, it's that large group of mostly white folks who think freedom's free, and that how it's always been is just going to always be that way. And maybe they'll talk to their spouse or their friends a little bit about, wow, what's going on? This doesn't seem right. I see some, I see ICE attacking people who are citizens. I see ICE attacking people who aren't, and going overboard. And just, I see these I see these concentration camp looking places being built, and I'm hearing this, I'm hearing that, but they don't get involved. Maybe they're too busy making ends meet. Maybe they're too busy, barely surviving or with their job or whatever they're doing. But it's those people in the middle that they know enough to know something's going on, but they haven't found their voice. They don't really know what's going on. That's what my book's written about, Indoctri-Nation 365. It's for everybody. And it's kind of funny, the people who are buying it the most right now are people in other countries. They're asking, what is going on in the United States? How are you letting that lunatic take over and destroy your country? And they're sad for us. And they're watching us and they don't really get it. And no one's explaining it to them because most people here don't really know what's going on. Well, I can't say I know everything, but I've been studying this for a while, our culture. And I wrote my book, Indoctri-Nation 360. I wrote the book, and Indoctri-Nation 365. If you want to look at it and learn some facts, go to Indoctri-Nation365.com. It's as simple as that. And if you know somebody who maybe needs to learn about this. It's almost 400 pages, but it's really easy reading, and it's anyone could read. I honestly, a fifth grader could read it and understand it. I wasn't writing it to impress. I was writing it to inform and empower. And a lot of us think we know our real racial history, and we absolutely don't, because it's been kept from us. It's the culture we inherited. It's not your fault, but it's been kept from us. So definitely consider getting my book. I'm going to have it on Kindle. It should be very inexpensive. If anyone watching cannot afford Kindle or a book and they really want to read it, get a hold of me and I will somehow get you the book. It's not about money. It's about spreading the word about what's going on so people can empower themselves and decide if they want to stand up for what's right. Because right now, there's not enough of us standing up. Anyway, I'm definitely doing overkill to this issue. Let me just check for comments. If anyone has a subject they want to talk about, please bring it up. We got a lot to say because there's a lot of bad stuff going on right now. But Michelle's on vacation right now. So for anybody who's wondering where she is, I wanted to I'll stop talking about my book finally. I'm extremely excited about it, and I'll probably bring it up again, Indoctri-Nation365.com. So again, I talked about the March 28th protest. It's imperative that we get our bottoms out there. Just be there. If you've never gone to a protest, get a hold of me. If you're nervous, you're scared, whatever, just get a hold of me. I will tell you all about it. Oh, cool. Yay. Thank you, Harper. Awesome. That's exciting. I don't even have a copy yet because the author copies are taking forever, but I'm really excited. And Michael showed me his copies and he's been wonderful in trying to spread the word. If you know anybody who needs to read about this and know about this, definitely I'd appreciate you spreading the word. So let me see what's next here. Okay, I'm scrolling down. I have a rant today, and it's kind of a rant that's more for me than anybody. It's I don't know. I'm going to do it, but it's about the irony of Trump firing Kristi Noem. And I mean, honestly, I'll just do it. Let's just talk about irony here. It's like we got to laugh at some things, and I don't mean laugh in a mean way, but laugh instead of cry is what I'm talking about. Kristi Noem was one of the most aggressive faces of the administration, and this anti-immigrant propaganda machine of a woman. I don't know how else to put it. And she is very, very hateful, very, very misleading with what she talks about. I just wanted to, before I go on and on with the rant, why would the most impoverished, the most oppressed, the most, the people with the least power in our country be the ones to blame for all that's going wrong, and why you can't make ends meet, and why you struggle and work so hard but can't catch up, and why you have no health insurance or you pay ridiculous amounts for health insurance, and why you have trouble putting food on the table because it's so expensive. Why would we blame the people who have been the most marginalized? It doesn't make sense, does it? Guess why? Because they're not doing it. It's not them. Okay. It's the wealthiest elites who are running our country, who are hoarding wealth, who are making rules that benefit them, who are helping to break down the checks and balances so they get more money. Okay. It's a lot of crazy shit going on. And so that's the craziest part of this rant. But we talk about irony here. Kristi Noem was one of the most aggressive faces of this administration. She was absolutely anti-immigrant, this anti-immigrant machine woman. She was aggressive, and she spent hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars on this theatrical fear campaign, because fear works really well. Telling Americans that immigrants and asylum seekers were the reason for all of our problems. And when we get rid of all of them, no matter what their status is, whether they've been doing everything right, doesn't matter if they're the worst of the worst, just anybody. Let's kick their asses out of our country. And like, remember the cowboy cosplay ads that she did with the riding horses and tactical gear and dramatic border footage? all designed to sell fear. And the American public bought it. I mean, we just bought into it. But when Congress asked a simple question, who authorized all this spending? She actually answered. She said, Trump did. Trump approved it. And suddenly she was fired. Ta-da! Think about that. This is the woman this is the same Kristi Noem who bragged about murdering her little puppy by shooting it, 14-month-old puppy, because it wasn't behaving during one of her hunting trips. And this is the same person who got so mad after that, she went and shot a goat. Don't even ask me, I don't get that part, but because I guess she was frustrated. This is the same person who oversaw policies that sent hundreds of migrants to this brutal prison in El Salvador. They weren't even from El Salvador, many of whom had committed no crimes and were legally seeking asylum in the United States. And they were grabbed up because of their tattoos. She built her entire career around loyalty, cruelty, and this crazy propaganda for this administration. And but the moment she told the truth under oath, the moment she confirmed that, yeah, Trump said yes to the spending, which he did, she was suddenly totally expendable. Not because she was cruel to the people, not because she took away people's human rights and advocated for that, not because she deported innocent people to countries they'd never been to in their lives, not because of the propaganda campaign. No. She was fired because she told the truth in a system built on lies. Okay? It's a system built on lies. That's the real story. In this administration, cruelty is rewarded. Loyalty to power is required. But the truth will get you fired. And rant over. It's hard. I'm hard pressed to not understand how there are so many people who don't get this. This is who he is, and he has all the people around him who are standing up and cheering him on. The checks and balances are gone. The loyalists are in, and anyone else who might question, which is what our government's supposed to be about, is out. So it's a goddamn free-for-all. I'm not sure how else to put it. You didn't, Harper, that's what you were talking about. You did answer me. Can't wait for the movie. Oh my God, you're so funny. You're hilarious. Yeah. Oh, I wish. First, I'd like to sell some books. And it's not to get money, because you really don't get much from from selling books, because like the production of them and the printing of it costs a lot. But what you do is you get your voice heard, and you spread around ideologies of empathy, compassion, and our real racial history. And if they ever did a movie, that would be very, very funny and wonderful. And the movie, if that's what you're talking about. And yes, Kristi Noem is a murderer, which she did. I mean, showing off. I mean, it got her in the cabinet, showing off that she murdered a puppy dog because it wasn't a good hunter. You guys, this is not like, well, people in his cabinet are, maybe they're okay. No, the people who are in his cabinet are, thank you, Harper, you're so sweet. They're coming with backgrounds that are incredibly telling. They're white supremacy, eugenicist backgrounds, and it's who they are. It's what they do, and they have found their leader, or at least somebody who's very, very easy to manipulate and, have do what you want. It's really scary, and if not enough people stand up, it is not good. It is not good. And right now, not enough people are saying something. Like I said before, they're keeping it in their head. They maybe are upset about things, but they don't want to, they don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to make waves. They don't want to talk to, racist Uncle Joe who comes by the house once a week to drink beers with their husband. They don't want to talk about, they don't want to mess anything up. And, but you see, our whole country's messed up right now. And not enough people are talking, and freedom isn't free. And unless you take part in this kind of thing, like stand up for equity and justice and what's right, we're going to get to find out what it's like living in a true authoritarian dictatorship. And I just want to get out before they close the freaking borders. That's all I can say. And I know that sounds like, what? But yeah, because that's, I know a lot of, I've heard a lot of stories about people who didn't get out of Nazi Germany, and that's where we're headed. That's where we're headed. Will we get there? I don't know, but I'm not waiting. And a lot of people are waiting. Too many people are just hanging out to see what happens. Well, it's happening. And if you do a deep dive to any type of subject matter in this regard, you will learn things that are scary as hell. I just read something, and I don't know the details, but it was by someone who used to work in the White House, saying that the DOJ is now going to be, Trump's trying, and his administration is trying to make it so the DOJ is immune now and can do whatever they want. First of all, they're supposed to be working for the country and the Constitution, not for he whose name we should not speak. Okay, they're supposed to be working for actually the country, not a particular king. But that's what they're trying to pass. They're trying to get rid of every single check and balance we have, and they're succeeding. They're circumventing the Constitution, and it's happening because not enough of us are standing up. I have one more rant, and then I will be done talking, if you can believe that. My rant is a basic rant. It is a basic rant about the reality of this moment. There's no more waiting. I think a lot of people, like I did, wondered, how could the people of Germany allow Hitler to take over, and millions and millions of people, not just Jewish people. Oh my God, they were murdering disabled people, Black people, poor people, LGBTQ people. It was no group was not untouched. There's no group that was untouched, really, other than if you fit the profile of this white Aryan. Thank you, Michael. He says, everyone buy the book. Thank you so much. That's really sweet. But we now really can't say, how did they do that? Why didn't people stand up? Because we're doing it right now. We're all just kind of letting someone else, figure this out. And we're thinking maybe we don't like this, or wow, Trump keeps saying we should, that things are going great, but my gas is still high. My food prices are still high. I still can't buy a house. It's not working out. It won't let me post the Amazon link. Interesting. Yeah, I believe that's YouTube. Thanks for trying, though. I just keep saying Indoctri-Nation365.com, and I'd appreciate it. Thank you, Michael. Thank you. So too many people, like I said over and over, are doing nothing but thinking about it, and thinking it's lovely and good thoughts are nice, but they do not dismantle a powerful system like the United States federal government. They don't help dismantle anything. So if we look at the reality right now, millions of people have been kicked off their health insurance. Millions of people have lost their food insurance, their food assistance. Millions of people, thousands of federal workers and public servants have been pushed out of their jobs, including a very disproportionate amount of Black women. It's incredible, who were in the public sector helping, helping with things that we need, and they're in the federal workforce. They were the backbone of the federal workforce. I think it was 20 to 22% of Black women have or had jobs in the federal workforce, and now they've been just thrown out. While ordinary people are losing their basic support to live, not to live grand and big, just to live, like food, the administration is building a freaking golden ballroom, increasing our war budget, snatching people up off the streets with no habeas corpus, taking them away in unmarked cars to prisons, for-profit prisons. And that's what they are. A detainment center, sure, you can call it that, but they don't have adequate food. They don't have adequate water. They don't have blankets. They don't have, it's prison. Let's be real. It's prison, and some of them have done nothing wrong. We do get more people with us, and I'm in Florida. I protest next to senior citizens. Ah, very good. That's awesome, Harper. I love that. That's so cool. So ordinary people are just losing everything while the ballroom is being built, while millions and millions of dollars are increasing and put in our budget. People are going on, don't even get me started what the administration is doing. Just let that all sink in. I mean, it's crazy. And this is the same president who ran on a campaign promise of no more wars in the Middle East. And yet here we are. We got a war going. He started a war. I'll just say it. This is basic, and I don't know what to say. Harper says we have a lot of idiots here. Yeah. You know what? We have a lot of people who have been completely deceived, and they don't understand that we have a propaganda machine. I mean, that's one of the reasons Kristi Noem was fired, is the propaganda machine. So, I mean, that's what we have here. And although we like to think we're better than that, we're not. It's hard to tell what's real and what's not real right now. So a war has started. It's a war. You know what a war is. Call it what you want, but it's a war. It's more than a week, and we have not received a clear message about what it's even explanation about, what's going on. We've received a lot of things, but there's been no clear goals, no clear strategy, no explanation of what victory might look like, what it is, no explanation of how it will end. Instead, we're getting a different story every freaking day. One day, officials say it's a war. Then half of them say, well, it's not a war. Some say it's about security. Others say it's about civil rights in Iran. And that stops me in my boots. That just stops me in my tracks. Civil rights in Iran? Civil rights? Think about the irony of that. This administration is rolling back civil rights protections here at home like there's no tomorrow in ways that have not been seen in my generation. And all while claiming it's bombing another country to save their human rights. Give me a fucking break. That's ludicrous. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that's he's going to save the Iranian people by bombing them. So that's going to help their civil and human rights by throwing bombs on them, overturning their government. And who's going to save us? That's what I want to know. Who the hell's going to save us from him? Apparently, we're supposed to believe that dropping bombs on Iranian cities will somehow give Iranians more freedom. Meanwhile, Americans are watching our own rights, protections, safety nets disappear, and we're normalizing it all. And I just want to know who's going to save us from the erosion of our rights, because no one's going to save us. Okay, it's we the people, and we the people aren't cutting it. We always count on Black people. We always count on Black people to get out there and to save us. And oh my God, they've done it so many times. They do the marches, they do everything for human rights, and it all trickles down to everybody and makes everyone's life better. But this time, it's time for white folks to step up to the plate. Okay. One moment, I mean, the explanations for this, war keep changing. One moment, there's a claim that, Iran was about to attack us, so we had to strike first. Okay, give me a break. That's ridiculous. Another time it's about human rights. Another time it's about the region's instability or stability. There's 5 or 6 reasons, and there's no consistent story. And even more disturbing is our allies weren't even warned. And God knows our allies are probably scared shitless of us anyway. They probably don't trust us at all. How could they? I wouldn't blame them. We've alienated them like crazy, allowing for other big power players to take over. Americans living in the region were not prepared. Okay. So Americans in the Middle East, a lot of them are stuck there now, and they can't get out because Iran bombed all the ways they escaped. I mean, Iran was ready for this, and they bombed all the ways they can get out. So now they can't get out. It's crazy. It's this isn't a game. The man with the nuclear codes is a lunatic. He's crazy. I'm sorry. I just say it like it is. And we have no clear answers, no clear plan, just slogans, contradictions, and escalating danger. The danger for our Homeland Security person, all they do is work on deporting human beings, most of whom are actually decent citizens. And, they're working for their own asylum, and they're doing everything right. And they're getting kicked out of the country. And what about Iran and people who want to get revenge? Who's watching out for that? And this is not a safe situation. We're switching Homeland Security. I mean, it's just crazy. You know, if you hear about the guy who's taken her place, oh my God, don't even get me started. So truth, we just need some simple truth, transparency, and leadership that values human life more than power. And that's, I think, what we need, and that's not what we're getting. So we're in some scary times. So I'm going to check for any more questions or comments. I thank you so much for all your support. Michael and Harper, I am indebted to you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you watching. It's my first show back in years without, and Michelle's on vacation, so I'm just blabbing away. I thank you for being here. Anybody who watches in, you know, the recorded version of this, please consider subscribing and watching videos and helping us get this channel monetized. Not because it makes us any money, because it really doesn't, about 30 cents a month, but because it gets us in the algorithms. And when we're in the algorithms, we can get our videos shown and seen. And hopefully people appreciate the news with a side order of integrity and honesty. Definitely a side order of, I am very blunt. So thank you for watching, and come every Sunday at 4 Eastern. And we will be doing, hopefully she and I will be here and talking about anything you want to talk about. And hopefully we'll get more and more people to come. We used to have a ton of people who would come before, but we're just starting up again. So I'm extremely happy to have Harper and Michael and anyone else who gets to watch this. So support my YouTube channel by watching, sharing, and subscribing. And I will see you next week. Thank you. Thanks, you guys. Appreciate it.